Hello, buddy. Welcome back to the Tin Man's Core channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'll be reacting to my third and final scary storyteller channel for you all. And this is Night Time Spooks. And the video that I'll be reacting to is 3 true pizza delivery horror stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Okie dokie, here we go.
I am a pizza delivery driver. This was by far the scariest thing to happen to me. It took place about 1 year ago. I was working on a Thursday night, which were usually decently busy.
Okay.
I made quite a few deliveries, and the later it got, the more things calmed down. At about 1 in the morning, I got a delivery for a cheese pizza. I put it into my car and drove to the location, which was about 10 minutes away. It was in an area of town which I rarely delivered to. It's a little more run down.
I cannot believe there's people ordering pizza around 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'll be in the bed asleep, same as most of the other people in that area. But let's continue with the story, see what happens next.
I got to the address, which was a 2-story house with a pretty decent-sized yard and many overgrown plants and trees. It looked a little bit run down like most houses in the area and had a front porch that seemed to wrap around the house. I got out of my car, grabbed the pizza, and walked up the driveway to the house. Then I walked up the steps to the door and rang the doorbell. About 30 seconds went by, and I was about to ring the bell again when the door started to open. A man answered. He was fairly large and bald and looked to be in his 50s. He just stood there staring at me for a second. I said I had his pizza and handed it to him. He looked almost surprised and said, "Oh, okay, that's nice." Then he just looked around. He just seemed a little bit strange to me. Then he said to me that he had to get some cash to tip me and he would be right back. He went back inside and closed the door. I stood there waiting for a good 2 or 3 minutes, but the man still didn't return.
I'm getting that feeling that either he did not order the pizza and somebody else did, just to lure that driver out there, or he's in on this whole scheme just to get a free pizza. And the other guys are probably hiding outside waiting to attack the pizza delivery guy. I wouldn't stay there another minute.
I was thinking about just leaving when I heard some noise and figured the man must be coming back. But when I listened closer, it wasn't coming from inside. It was coming from outside on the porch. I looked around to the direction of the noise. Then I saw from the side of the house on the porch 3 men approaching me about 30 feet away. I guess it was just an instinct, but as soon as I saw them, I turned and sprinted back down the porch to the driveway. When I did, I heard all the men start to chase after me. I ran as fast as I could to my car and unlocked it and then jumped inside. I frantically started the engine and stepped on the gas. As soon as my car started moving forwards, the men reached me. I felt one of them kick my back door and another one tried opening the door on the other side, but I was just barely able to drive away. I sped out of the neighborhood and all the way back to the pizza place.
See, what did I tell you? It was just a setup. That guy wasn't going to bring cash for you to pay for that pizza. He was in on those guys ordering the pizza and then try to grab the driver before he left. But thank God he heard him and saw him coming, bolted to his car and got out of there. But I'll be calling the cops about this, and hopefully they get down there before they're gone.
I have to think that the pizza delivery was some sort of trap to lure me into getting robbed, or maybe even worse.
Of course.
I haven't delivered to that area much since, but when I do, I'm extra careful.
Yeah, if you do bring a pizza in that area, but it's somebody else's house, I'll be carrying a pocket knife or pepper spray, just so if they try to do something like that again on you, you can use one of them weapons to defend yourself. I'm just glad he got out of there. Okay, so let's get to story number 2.
I am a 21-year-old female. Around 3 years ago, when I turned 18, I decided to get a job as a pizza delivery driver.
Right.
We lived in a small town, and there wasn't much, but there was a little pizza place. My older brother had worked there as a pizza delivery driver the year before. I went in one day to ask for an application to work there. The owner was a middle-aged man named Gary. He told me I was hired as soon as I asked for the application. I thought he must be joking, so I laughed, but then he said he was serious. I remember my brother had said that Gary was a little weird, but I didn't really mind as long as I had a job.
I figure he probably said that because there's not a lot of people your age going up to him asking for application for being a delivery driver. And he's very desperate at this point. But let's continue.
I got trained the next week, and soon after was my first real day on the job. I was scheduled to work a night shift, and when I arrived, it was just me, Gary, and another kid that I went to high school with named Mike. Like I said, it was a small place and a small town, so it wasn't usually that busy. I waited around and swept the floors for a few minutes before an order for a delivery came in. How it would usually work is Gary would make the pizzas, and then the drivers would deliver them. When the pizza was done, I was told to deliver it, so I took the address and then the pizza and got into my car. But when I did, Gary followed me. He told me he wanted to ride with me and make sure I did the delivery correct. I was a little annoyed because I knew I would get it right, and I didn't want him going with me. I thought it would be really awkward, and Gary just kind of gave me the creeps. He was the boss though, so I had to do what he told me to. I got in and drove to the address without a problem. Gary didn't really say anything during the drive. He just watched me.
I mean, yeah, that would be kind of weird if the boss wants to ride with you just to see if you get the job done right. I bet golly, all he has to do is deliver the pizza to the house, get the money, and get back to the place of business. Easy peasy. No wonder why his brother said he was a little weird. And plus, if you say, no, that's okay, I can handle it, he'll probably be like, no, I am coming with you, or you're fired, basically.
We arrived at the house and I got out and gave them the pizza. Gary stayed in the car and waited. When I got back to my car that was parked on the street, I saw that Gary was in the driver's seat now and was motioning for me to get in the passenger side. I got in and asked him why he was driving. He said he needed to show me something. I was getting a bad feeling, and I really didn't like Gary driving my car. I asked him again what he was doing, this time with a more stern tone in my voice. But he didn't answer me this time and focused his eyes on the road. He started driving back, but then made a turn that I realized was not the right way to go back. Then Gary spoke, but his tone of voice changed. He said, "Just shut up." I knew then that I was in trouble. I feared for what Gary might do, and he was much bigger than me. He took a road that led more into the wilderness, and we drove for several minutes. Then I saw a stop sign coming up. I did just what I felt I had to do, and as soon as the car came down to a slow enough speed, I opened the door and got out, and then I ran as far away as I could. I started running in some grass, and then sort of a wooded area. As I was running, I heard his door open, and I heard him shouting, but I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Don't listen into what he's shouting at you. If you have your phone, call the cops and say your boss stole your car and was driving you to some weird random location in the woods. Now, that is really weird enough that the boss will want to ride with you, but then jump in the driver's seat to try to take you somewhere. I'll be like, I ain't having that. That is creepy.
That made me run even faster. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I needed to get away. I ran for as long as I could before running out of breath, and then I hid behind a tree. I didn't hear him or anything, so I decided to take out my phone and call my mother. I told her what had happened, and she had me turn my location on so she could pick me up. She arrived about 15 minutes later and then called the police. My car and Gary had both vanished. He ended up being found and arrested a week later. My car was found in his garage. His restaurant was shut down, and I ended up getting a job at a local grocery store instead.
I got a feeling that he probably wanted to rob his employee, delete them out in the woods, and then take the car and probably scrap it for parts. But thank God the police found him quick enough and had him arrested and shut down his business. And this person's now working at a grocery store, which is a safer option of employment, in my opinion. That's definitely a close call. Thank God you had your phone on you to get your mom to pick you up.
I recently moved across the country to a new town to go to school.
Okay.
I was able to land a job as a pizza delivery driver pretty easily. I've done this job before, and I like it because it's relatively easy and I make good money on tips. I work a lot of really late night shifts. A couple of weeks ago, I was working and at about 2 a.m. an order came in. It was for a large cheese pizza. At that hour, it was just a couple of us working, so I made the pizza myself and then put it in my car and went to deliver it. I didn't know the area very well, so I would always put the address in on my phone and then just follow the directions. I got in my car and typed it in. It said it was a 15-minute drive. As I drove, it seemed to be taking me into the middle of nowhere. I drove for about 10 minutes through woods with not a building or house in sight. Then finally, I was supposed to turn onto a little dirt road that I could barely see. If it hadn't showed up on my map, I would have almost certainly missed it. I slowed down and then turned onto the little dirt road. The map showed me continuing on this road for about 1 more mile, and then I would take a left, and the destination would be there.
Now that I would be creeped out with going to drop off pizza in the middle of nowhere because miles away from the town, and if you don't have any cell service, you won't be able to call the cops if things hit the fan quick. But just drop the pizza off, get the money, and get out of there.
I began driving down the dirt road, which was surrounded by woods. Then suddenly, my phone lost signal.
Oh, great.
I wasn't all that surprised being so far out from the city, but I was concerned because I needed to find the house to deliver the pizza. I kept driving very slowly and looked for a road on the left side. Finally, I saw it and I turned. The road was another dirt one, but the woods on each side was even more dense. It was very eerie being out there on that road at that time of night, especially not knowing where I was. I drove down the road very slowly, looking on both sides for a house or some kind of building for whoever ordered a pizza out here. But all I saw was trees from the dense woods and some grass. I still had no service at all on my phone, but I knew I had to be close to where the delivery was supposed to be. It was very dark and hard to see, with the only lights coming from my headlights. I wasn't seeing any kind of buildings at all. I started to get a really creepy feeling being out there, and after about 5 minutes of driving down that road looking, I decided to turn around and go back, because I could clearly see that there was no buildings. I drove my car back to the other dirt road, and then back to where I had signal before. At last, I was finally able to get connection on my phone, and when I did, I looked at the map again, but the address had been erased, and it was not there. I found the card that I had wrote the address on and put it back into my phone, but this time it said address not found. I decided I would just head back and try to figure out what was going on. When I got back to the store, I showed my boss the address and told him what happened. He looked surprised when I gave him this information. Then he told me that there are no houses or buildings in that area at all. I went back to look at the order that had come in, but it was gone. I chalked it up to a lack of sleep, but to this day, I really don't know how to explain what happened. Maybe I was just really tired, but it was still a really creepy experience.
I'll say that's a creepy experience. Like, you got an address to go deliver pizza to, but when you get to the area, there ain't no houses or buildings there. And your phone lost service, and when you get service again, the address don't show up on the GPS, and when you type it in, it still don't show it. And then when you look it up at the system at work, it's erased. I guarantee you it was paranormal related. That's very creepy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more Nighttime Spooks related content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man Score channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said that's a wrap, and that's it.